Hey everybody, Greg Pruitt here with Idaho Dispatch, and we are continuing our efforts to interview as many statewide candidates as possible. And today we are joined by Ben Cannady, who is a Republican running for governor. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing today?
Good, good. So the primary is coming up very, very quickly.
Yes.
And so we wanted to, reach out to you. And I know we've kind of been working on a good schedule for both of us, and we finally made it happen. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
But so my first question to pretty much every candidate running for statewide office, and especially for governor, is why governor, and what kind of brought you to go, I'm going straight to the top. I'm not running for state house or mayor or city council. I'm going for the big kahuna, right? And I'm going to go for governor. So what kind of drove you to that decision, and what was that like for you and your family and making that decision?
As far as what it is for my family, my son and daughter, they support me, but they're teenagers, so they they think I'm crazy, like most people. And as far as why, well, honestly, I don't want it. It's a job that I don't want. I don't want a job where everyone hates you and criticizes you, even though it really doesn't bother me. But at the same time, it's a job that has to be done, and I'm tired of empty promises and unfulfilled. Basically, I'm just tired of all the lies. I'm tired of people saying, "Oh, I'm doing this for the little people." Like little, he says he's doing it for the little people, but the guy's worth how many millions? And I'm tired of people who, unlike me, where I have been on food stamps, I have been on welfare, I have been on WIC, I have stood in had to stand in the food bank lines. None of these people know what it's like to, work 10, 12, 14 hours, sleep in the parking lot after one job and then go to your next job just to try to raise your kids, have to call the Toys for Tots and, the Marine Corps Toys for Tots just so your kids can have Christmas present and then keep one present out there so they can have a birthday present. I'm tired of them not doing it for the actual people.
Okay. So is that ultimately what drove you? I mean, you just disagreed with Little maybe in how he was running the office, and so you said he's not good enough, and I don't really like any of the other challengers. I'm the only one that can do it the way that I want it done. And is that what you're saying drove you ultimately to throw your name in the ring?
Not just Little. It was actually started off with Otter because I did run in 2018. Came in dead last, but then again, I was doing it with $0 taken in last time and $0 taken in this time. And yes, that's pretty much it. Everyone says all kinds of things, great promises, but fulfills none of them. They immediately go back on what they promise. They forget that they are public servants and they're here to serve us instead of us serving them. They're supposed to do everything they can to say, what can I do for you? And now let me do my best for you. And that's ultimately what I want to do. I want to take away, a lot of the power from the, elected officials, everything from the top all the way down to the bottom. And that's actually why I didn't really run for a house or anything else. I want to go to where I can say, no, look, we're taking away one of the things I'm running on. We're taking away your ability to vote on your own raises. I think it should be illegal. Every 2 years, put it out for the people to vote on. If they say, yes, we think you deserve a raise, you get 3% for that 2 years, 1.5% a year. And if you can't do it off of your current pay, then you shouldn't be in there. So.
Sure. So let's dive into the issues now. You mentioned that as one of the issues that you're bringing up on the campaign trail. What are some of the other, if you had to pick 2 or 3 other issues that are really important to you and that you're running on as governor, what would those be?
Another really important issue is actually school choice. Yes, we got some of the other candidates saying, we need school choice, and it's true. We do need school choice, but the things that they leave out is that funding being also used for homeschooling. I think that if a mother and or a father, I don't care who is the one staying at home with the kid, but if the parent is who is staying at home with the kid, should get that money that would otherwise go to a public school, to basically, fund the schooling of the child at home, whether they have one child or 10 children. I don't care. It should also be allowed to be used for religious schools. I don't care if you want to send your kid to a Catholic school, a Christian school, a Muslim school, a Hebrew school. I don't care. It should, whatever the parent deems worthy for their child, that's where the funding should be going to. No questions asked, no matter what.
Okay.
Another one is term limits here in the state. Yes, I think we need term limits on every politician all the way up to the very top in Washington. But you know what? We can't affect the ones in Washington. We can affect the ones that represent Idaho, though. Everyone from a House representative to a governor to a mayor to a school council. If you've been elected in, even a sheriff, if you've been elected in, you get 2 terms or 8 years, because some actually are only running 2 years at a time. So they'll technically get 4 terms, but you know what I mean.
Okay. So let's dive into maybe some of the other key issues across the state that typically come up in a campaign.
Yep.
And let's start maybe with the most recent hot button issue, which is the issue of abortion. Where do you personally stand on the issue of abortion?
Personally, I think abortion's murder, period. I mean, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, no, that's no. I'm sorry. Death is death. I don't care if it's still in the womb or not. But no, I also don't believe that a woman who's been raped or through incest should have to carry the child either. But with that being said, that, the statistics say that rape is 1%, incest is 0.5%. So 1.5%. And it would also have to be proven too, criminally proven. But also it should be allowed to, to save the mother's life. There are cases where, if the child isn't aborted and it can't survive through a early birth, off of equipment, then yes, that is a sad thing to have to do, but it's either save one or lose both. I believe it's there too. But with that being said, I also believe 100% on equal rights. And it is equal rights. When we start talking about something as severe as abortion, a lot of people skip over the fact that a child isn't 100% a woman's. A child is 50% hers and 50% the person that she was with, whether it be a boyfriend or a one-night stand, a fling. So I ask this to anyone. If a woman has the rights or is given the rights to end a child's life, to kill a man's child, does a man in turn, if she decides to keep the child, have the right to opt out of child support? So if we're going to go with one direction, let's say we do go with, abortion up into the second trimester or whatever, does the man then have the right to opt out of child support if he decides that he doesn't want the child, the same as a woman would be allowed to?
Okay.
So that's, it's 100% equal. That's how the world should be treated. Women want equal rights. I believe women deserve 100% equal rights. But in turn, you have to give men 100% equal rights. Treat everyone exactly the same.
Okay. Let's jump to another hot button topic, which is the Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms. Say life and Second Amendment, healthcare and a few other issues generally top a lot of people's interest, especially in the Republican Party. Where do you stand on the Second Amendment, and more specifically on issues such as universal background checks and red flag laws?
They're BS. They are 100% BS. Let's put it that way. I am former Army, and on this, and actually pretty much anything, I would make a decision on if I do get elected governor. Even though I am Christian, I believe wholeheartedly that, God is real and Jesus Christ died for my sins and he is my savior. But I also have to fall back on the fact that I am also former Army, and I also have to fall back on the morals of the men and women who fought and died for our, rights. The Second Amendment says, the right to bear arms of the people. So everyone, and it was made so that anyone can be as well armed as the military. Now, yes, people are going to always go to the stream. Well, they think they deserve to own a tank. Yes. If you can afford to shell out $25 million for a tank, why not have a tank? It's not like you're going to be, driving around town. Why? Because there's laws against driving that particular vehicle because of its weight on the roads. That's why the military transports them on trucks. Full auto. Yes, you should be allowed to own full auto. I shouldn't have to pay $25,000 for a full auto gun. If you can legally own a gun, what's the difference between owning a shotgun and a machine gun? Nothing other than how much money you want to spend at the range. I mean, and one's just going to be a lot more expensive. Now, at the same time, I do believe those who have lost their rights, as in domestic dispute, because trust me, I'm a sufferer of domestic dispute through my first marriage. I was physically abused quite well. I mean, not well, but you know what I mean. I don't believe those type of people should be allowed if it is proven that they are not stable, should be allowed to have a gun. No, we should not have red flag laws. They should be allowed to go through the proper legal process, their due process. They should be allowed their due process before it's taken away. The same way as, a parent who is accused of being a child abuser should have to go through the due process before their children are taken away. Because it's not always, that person's abusing their child. No, it could just be them disciplining their kid because, a slap on the butt to tell them no is not abuse. If you understand what I'm saying. And I believe our castle doctrine needs to be reinforced even furthermore to make it more capable for the average person to defend themselves in their house, on their property, in their vehicle, or at their place of work, as the castle doctrine already states, but able to do it more easily without the fear of being prosecuted or even losing their firearm. So, I mean, what do you think, has kept a lot of the violence away from Idaho? Is the fact that a lot of these people realize that, yes, we have a castle doctrine up here and, they play stupid games. They would win stupid prizes.
Okay. Let's shift to healthcare. Another big topic, as healthcare costs, both sides or all sides seem to agree that healthcare costs are too expensive and they keep going up. How would you, as governor, try to bring down the costs of healthcare, if anything?
Oh yes, definitely. Healthcare it's stupid. It's beyond stupid when it comes to price. That is more of I don't believe in government, sticking their nose in, but at the same time, there are places where government needs to stick their nose in. I think this is one of them, but not a universal health care, because that will never work. Universal health care, being ran by the government, a single payer system will never work. The U.S. government's already proven they can't do it. They've been proving it for years, for decades, that they can't do it. Look, it's called the VA. It's called Medicare. They can't do it. It doesn't work. We need to, for one, make the VA illegal. Any military person, personnel, whether it be, president of our past or even spouse or family member, show your military ID at the hospital. The hospital treats you, and then they are at cost plus 10%, sends the bill to the U.S. government. The U.S. government covers it. That's it. I also don't think the hospital should be charging, say nothing more than 10% more, or 15, maybe 20% more. But some of the stuff they charge so much more on is ridiculous. You go in for a bag of IV, and if the IV costs them 50 cents a bag, they're charging you $5 a bag, for the IV. And it's ridiculous that, that you're paying for, outrageous prices on some of these things. Trump had insulin and the EpiPen down, and then when Biden came in, boom, it skyrocketed. A friend of mine, she had to get 2 jobs just to be able to afford her child's insulin when Biden came back in. And she's fretting every day. Matter of fact, I've even got to help her out from time to time because of what the Biden administration did. You know, I kind of agree with the way Trump was doing it, where how if you open up the insurance plan so that way I live in Idaho, but insurance company in Texas is willing to cover me at the exact same policy, the exact same coverage, but for 20% less. Yeah, let me go there. Oh nope, in 2 months I find a place in New York that is willing to cover me for half the price, but give me all the exact same coverage. Why not open it up to the free market? I would not say do not go out of the U.S. No, keep it all here in America, but open it up to the 50 states.
Okay. All right, let's jump to education. Another big topic, and I mean, from either the discussion regarding CRT to funding, but let's start with funding for education. You kind of touched on some of this already. Yep. On that money following the student, but let's maybe talk about the level of funding that education currently has in Idaho. Do you think that our funding isn't enough? It's too much. It's just right. Do you support the ballot initiative that Reclaim Idaho is currently pushing to raise funding for education? Where are you at on education funding?
Honestly, in my opinion, children are like the military. There's never enough money you can throw at it as long as it's spent properly. As long as you can spend it properly and not waste it, I'm always more than willing to throw more money at kids. Same thing with the military. You can always throw more money at it and make it better. But like I said, not wasting the money. And one way is, books, school books. How many times have you ever heard of a school going, oh yeah, I know we're still teaching off of books that are 20 years old and they're outdated, but we can't afford to update them. Why not? Why doesn't every school and every child have a tablet that you can now get for $20 at Best Buy, and it can be updated every week when they plug them back in, and they leave them over the weekend. And the tablets are so stupid cheap now that they could even take them home and, let's say, accidentally spill milk on it, or my dog ate it. Believe it or not, I've had that happen where but that's neither here nor there. But they're still cheap enough that you can get it done. And a lot of the times with some of these, because I've had some jobs where the programs that we used in our tablets were proprietary, and that's what made them expensive. That's where we would need to step in with government and say, no, you can't charge, $100 per tablet per month, because your program's proprietary. No, you have to provide a good service and, keep it. And the only reason why I'm saying proprietary, because the programs that are in it have to be there to keep predators from hacking into the kids' laptops, or keep stupid teenage boys from doing stupid teenage boys things, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yes, we need certain safeguards on them, but they shouldn't cost us a fortune. At the same time, I believe if we have school choice and the teachers are having to compete, as in, they're having to keep their kids at a certain GPA, getting rid of our Common Core, the biggest mistake that we ever made, which is, Common Core. I mean, God, that was so stupid. I suffered through it. My kids suffered through it. If we got rid of Common Core, the teachers would have the freedom to tailor their teaching to the way that works best for their students. And if we can keep the classrooms at a smaller level, 15 to 20 kids per class, and using the technology with the tablets where the teachers can keep better track on them, not only would that help out a lot, another big incident would be, the conflict between teachers and students. I know the teachers may not want it and some students may not want it, but I think every classroom, if they do go to a public school, every classroom should have 4 cameras, one in every corner. That would just keep everyone honest. As far as CRT, no, keep it out. Teach only only what is necessary. Yes, racism bad. Racism comes from everyone. I mean, look at the left; they are pushing just as much racist crap as they say the right is. Teach history, real history. Yes, we had slaves. Yes, it was bad. Everyone had slaves. Only 1/4 of the past had slaves. Oh, sorry, 4% of the past had slaves, and when it came to America, and 1/4 of them were black and Native Americans that owned them. So I mean that, but they don't teach. They don't want to teach that history. The CRT doesn't want to teach that history. They also don't want to teach the fact that 90% of all the slaves were sold by black people from Africa. I mean, teach the real history. We had slaves. It was bad. We got some good out of it, as in the fact that, that we pushed to have every single person to be treated equal. That type of stuff. We also need to start pushing in our schools, which we are now. What do they call it? Financial literacy.
Yeah.
That needs to be pushed more, not just balancing your checkbook, but also how to invest in your future to get away from stuff like Social Security. That would be another way to also save money, to put it to either towards the students or, put it someplace else. All of these things would actually go together to help save money in our budgets, because if we are starting to push, and no, it wouldn't be for the next, we wouldn't see any benefits from it for the next, like 10 or 20 years, but we would start to see benefits if we weren't spending a good chunk of, and I'm pretty sure this, a good chunk of your paycheck going into Social Security that, sadly enough, you and I may not ever be able to use, So we need to be teaching our kids to invest in their own future, teach them how to read the stock market, teach them how to invest into stocks that pay dividends, and how to notice which of their stocks may be going under and how to get out of that and into proper ones that are safe, and what are high risk, what are the low risk. By doing this, we're able to save more money and possibly redivert some of those taxes. While we can cut a lot of the taxes out, we may still be able to redivert a small portion, 5% of the taxes that we're cutting out, back into the schools, where we can afford to now invest, because of school choice, invest more into, let's say, buses, more buses, smaller buses that will then be able to say, with me being in Boise, if my kids were still in school, I wanted to take them to go to a Nampa school. Now we can afford enough buses that can come pick up my Boise son and take him to a Nampa school.
Okay.
Which would in turn basically cause more jobs and stuff like that.
Okay.
I mean, don't mean to ramble, but it's kind of an idea of it.
Yeah. Okay. One more, I guess, question on issues, and then we'll move on a little bit. What about one of the other big issues that the governors, for years have had to deal with, and President Biden was even here talking about it, was the issue of fires out west, right? The fires are a continual problem. There's always smoke throughout Idaho for a number of months from either Idaho fires or out of state fires. Now, you obviously can't do much about fires from out of state, but
yeah,
what if anything needs to be done to help taper down the fires in Idaho?
Better management. I mean, it's as simple as that. Just better management. If we can better manage ours, and then, honestly, I don't believe in this, whether it's GSE or GES score, what, basically the socialized score where for the geological, social, whatever score.
But ESG?
I don't,
The ESG score?
Yeah, there we go. The ESG score. Yeah, that's crap. But if they're going to push it, then say Oregon has a fire and the smoke starts coming over here. Hey, you know what? There's some major tax carbons that we're going to be charging Oregon now. So if they really want to push this, then we can start forcing the other states to our west, the ones who keep polluting our air with their forest fires, we can start charging them for every ounce of smoke that comes over here, for every particle part per million that they want to start pushing on everyone else. We will start charging them. So all it takes is just being able to better manage your forest, do little control burns here and there, thin them out, let our forestry guys go in there, selectively cut down trees. They don't have to, cut in big swaths. We got helicopters that carry them out all the time. That's more high paying jobs there. I mean, those helicopter pilots make a decent, really decent living. And I am sure they're more than willing to hook up to, logs and fly them out. Thin out the forest. They're healthier. The fires don't spread as fast. They're more controllable. The same guys who are carrying the logs out can also fly helicopters to put out a fire, so they can serve double duty. Same thing with the guys who are cutting down the forest. I'm pretty sure they're willing to collect a paycheck to put out the fire. Same thing is, we got a lot of open lands that catch on fire. The desert areas with the dry lands and stuff like that. We can, better manage them. If we, that would be more of a study that needs to be done on how to make them a little healthier. I don't know 100% if they're not healthy or if they are healthy. But just designing little breaks in them that would help slow a fire down. You're not gonna be able to stop all fires, but you can mitigate them by, proper management. And at the same time, proper management of forests means more deer and elk for hunting season.
Okay. All right. Well, before we get into, so at the very end, you can do your pitch to the citizens of Idaho. The primary is coming up on May 17th, which is very, very soon. Usually in the last section, we talk about, maybe a controversy surrounding a candidate. And to my knowledge, you don't have any high profile controversies that that we know about. But
yeah, I'm kind of boring.
Let's say maybe, you don't have like a social media site. You're not raising money. You don't have a website right now. Or anything set up. So what would you say to those who maybe say, hey, look, Ben, I like what you're saying, but I just don't think you're serious enough about this. You're not on the campaign trail like some of the other candidates. You're not raising money. You don't have this stuff set up. What would you say to those people who may take issue with that?
And honestly, I do hear this actually a lot. I hear this from my friends and my coworkers. At least half of them are voting for me. And they say the same thing. It's like, now, how can we take you serious? This is a money game, and that's the problem. This is a money game, and it's something that needs to end. And that's something I want to also get pushed through. Try to get pushed through if I do get elected, is making it to where you can't raise $100,000. If we have state-funded billboards that that everyone is allowed, say 10 seconds 4 times a day to put their ad up on, then everyone's equal. Also make it to where, I don't know if everyone knows this, but if you're a Republican or a Democrat, you just pay your money and you're in. You're a candidate. But if you're an independent or a constitutionalist or anyone else, not only do you have to pay your money, but you also have to get so many X amount of signatures, and those have to be verified. No, let's make it fair. Let's make it to where everyone has to pay your dollar amount. You're in. The primaries come up. And if you get your, let's say, 5 independents, if you win your independent section, good. You go up against the Republican and the Democrat. Make it fair. It all needs to be 100% fair. And if I get elected, that's what it'll be. But also ask yourself, is the candidate you're going to vote for, what power have they said they are giving up back to you? Are they promising you stuff that isn't going to happen? Like, they're going to get rid of your debt, or they're going to get rid of your school loans, or this. No. What power are they going to give back to you to make you more powerful and the government less powerful? How much are they going to put you back in power of the government? And that's what it should be. People should be voting on what power is given back to them. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to be giving back, 100% of the power. No, because the governor needs to have a little bit of leeway to be able to do the job. Every elected official does, but they also shouldn't have so much leeway that they don't go, oh yeah, I can flat out lie and get away with it. No, they need to be held liable for everything. At the same time, yes, I'm not bringing in any money, but that's because just as soon as I start bringing in money, then people can say, "Oh, this person took," and we'll just say, "We know what we always hear. He took money from white supremacists," and which, come on, people, they keep saying white supremacists, but I've yet to see any violence from anyone white. Let's say take the whole abortion thing for right now. All the violence is being, being put out there are from the left firebombing pro-life, organizations. So
Okay.
By keeping the money out of it, they cannot say that I'm taking money from X group or Y group or Z group. It's just me for the people. I'm here to serve everyone.
Okay. All right. Well, that almost sounded like a campaign pitch for your end there, but let's. This is the last thing. So you're speaking to the citizens of Idaho. What is your message for them, and why should they vote for you on May 17th?
Go out, do your research, vote with your heart, vote with your mind, and just remember, I'm here to serve you.
All right, sir. Well, we appreciate your time and taking time out of your busy day and work to meet with us, and good luck to you.
Thank you, sir.